Today's video is all about changing the subject or rearranging. What does it mean to make something a subject? For example, make t the subject. All this means is that we have to isolate t. So it's going to be t equals something, and that's going to be our goal, to get t all by itself. So what we have to do is we have to move our variables in order to get t by itself. And let's look at this first example. So g is equal to 2t plus k. And my goal is to get t by itself. Well, let's think about this one. Let's think of a function machine first. T is being multiplied by 2, then it's being added by k, and g's coming out. Whenever we rearrange, it's kind of like rearranging an algebraic equation to solve it. We just work backwards. So first, we think, should I get rid of the 2 or the k? Well, if we work backwards, we see we have to get rid of the k first. So the opposite of plus k is minus k. You do the same thing to the other side. So on the left-hand side is g minus k equals 2t. Then t is being multiplied by 2. We're going to divide by 2. So all you're doing is just working backwards. So g minus k divided by 2 equals t. And we have made t the subject. It's been isolated. This one here, r equals 3b minus t over p. And the question is, make b the subject. Okay, so we want to get b by itself. So we have to get rid of this 3, this minus t, and this divide by p. So we think, what should I get rid of first? Well, we can do a function machine to figure out. So b is our main character, because we're trying to make b the subject. It's being multiplied by 3, then being subtracted by t, then being divided by p to get r. Therefore, we're going to go into reverse, okay? So we're going to get rid of that divide by p first. The opposite of dividing by p is timesing by p. Balance it out. So on the left-hand side is rp. On the right-hand side, it is the divide p and times p, they disappear. So we're left with 3b minus t. Then b is being multiplied by 3, then subtracted by t. So we're going to work backwards and get rid of that minus t by adding t. So on the left-hand side, we have rp plus t equals the minus t and plus t cancel out. So we're left with 3b. Then b is being multiplied by 3. I'm going to divide by 3. So our answer is rp plus t over 3 equals b. And we've made b the subject. So you can do these two by yourself. Here. Make t the subject. All right, so first things first. Whenever we're adding terms together, so p is being plus by t squared, when you add, order doesn't matter. And I always like to make the subject the first term if there's an addition. So I'm going to rewrite this as the square root of t squared plus p instead. So when you order, or when you add numbers, order doesn't matter. 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2. So p plus t squared is the same as t squared plus p. And we can work backwards. So t is being squared. Let's draw our function machine. T is being squared. Then it's being plus by p. Then it's being square rooted. And then it's being added by 3. And w is coming out. So we can see, okay, if we work backwards, we have to get rid of plus 3 first. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. Do the same thing to the other side. So w minus 3 is equal to the square root of t squared plus p. Let's think about our function machine again. T is being squared, then plus by p, and then square rooted. If we work backwards, we'll get rid of the square root next. The opposite of square rooting is squaring, so I'll square this, and I'll square all this. So on the left-hand side, it's w minus 3 squared equals the square root and the square cancel out, so we're left with t squared plus p. Then we can minus the p. So w minus 3 squared minus p equals t squared. And how do you get rid of a square? We square root. So I'm going to square root the left-hand side, and then make sure you balance it out. So on the left-hand side, it's the square root of w minus 3 squared minus p equals t. Here, make p the subject. Okay, so same thing. Think of a function machine. I'll do this invisible. I'll just do it in my head. P is being cubed, then being subtracted by c cubed. So should I get rid of the cube first or to subtract c cube? Well, actually, let's just do our function machine just for the sake of it. P is being cubed, then it's being subtracted by c cubed to make y cubed. So we're going to work backwards. The opposite of subtracting c cubed is adding c cubed. I'll do that in another color. Plus c cubed. So I'll plus c cubed here. So on the left-hand side, we have p cubed equals y cubed plus c cubed. Then to get rid of that cube, I'm going to cube root. So left-hand side, the cube root and the cube cancel out, so we're left with p. Right-hand side is the cube root of y cubed plus c cubed. You can do those two by yourself. Here, make g the subject. So 3g k squared h equals r. So let's think about this one. So 3 is being multiplied by g, which is being multiplied by k squared, which is being multiplied by h. And I want to make g the subject. When you multiply, does the order matter of the numbers? Is 3 times 2 the same as 2 times 3? Yes, they're both 6. So when you're multiplying terms, order never matters. So if I'm trying to make g the subject, to make it easier perhaps, I'll put g in front. So g 3 k squared h equals r. And our goal is to make g the subject. Well, g is being multiplied by all this crap here. G is being multiplied by 3k squared h. To get rid of multiplying, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3k squared h. And you divide this side by 3k squared h. So on the left-hand side, the 3k squared h and the 3k squared h cancel out because multiply and divide are opposites. So the left-hand side is just g. The right-hand side is r equals 3k squared h. Cool. Here, make m the subject. Okay. Well, here's the thing, guys. All right. So E is being multiplied by mgh plus 1/4 mv squared. Okay. How can we do this? Well, perhaps. So I want to get m by itself. So a lot of people would start like this. They'd say, okay, E is equal to mgh plus 1/4 mv squared. Perhaps here, so a quarter is being multiplied by m, which is being multiplied by v squared. We can rearrange it so m's in front, because when you're multiplying, order doesn't matter. So mgh plus m 1/4 v squared. And then people think, okay, m is being multiplied by gh. Let me make that m neater. M is being multiplied by gh. So the opposite of multiplying by gh is dividing by gh. And then you can divide it here. But here's the thing, guys. If you're multiplying, if you're multiplying or dividing terms, if you multiply one term or divide by one term, you have to divide by all the other terms. So you have to divide this by gh as well. All right? Just like how if you did 6 plus 4 equals 10, if you divided this by 2 and just divided the other side by 2, let's see what would happen. 6 divided by 2 is 3, plus 4 equals 5. Is this a true fact or a false fact? It's false. If you divide one term by 2, you have to divide all the terms by 2. So we have 3 plus 2 equals 5, which is correct. So if we divide this by gh, we got to divide this and this by gh. So let's see what happens if we do that. So on the left-hand side, we'll have e over gh. Here, the times and divide gh cancel out, so we're left with m. But basically, we've not really done much because it's going to be m 1/4 v squared over gh. So we haven't, there's still a gh on the right-hand side. So what do we do here, guys? Well, it's a strategy you can use when you're doing rearranging, all right? I use this strategy when there are examples when I see the subject twice. There's two times where you see m. What you can do here is factorize using the common factor method. That's like our last resort. If you're having a really hard time changing the subject, factorize. And you use it when you see two of the subjects. So here, let's factorize it. So m equals, so let's look at both these terms. What's in common between both these terms? So we're going to factorize using the common factor method. So what's a common factor between both these terms? It's m. Open up brackets. How do I get from m to mgh? I times by gh. How do I get from m to 1/4 v squared? Well, I times by 1/4 v squared. Now, let's think about this now. E is equal to m brackets gh plus 1/4 v squared. What does this m brackets all this mean? It means m is being multiplied by all this. So if I want to get rid of multiplying by all this, I can just divide by all that. So what I'm going to do is divide both sides by gh plus 1/4 v squared. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. So on the left-hand side, we have e over gh plus 1/4 v squared. Right hand side, the times by gh plus 1/4 v squared and divide by gh plus 1/4 v squared, they cancel out. So we're left with m. And that's our answer. So factorizing is a nice little trick whenever you see the subject twice and you're stuck. Here, make v the subject of the formula. So first I see it's u plus v. I'll put, when you're adding, order doesn't matter, so I'll put v plus u instead, because v is our subject, v plus u, t. All right, all right, think about this now. So s equals half times v plus u times t. So when you're multiplying, order doesn't matter. So let's put the subject in front. So I'll do v plus u times 1/2 times t, which is the same as 1/2 t. So first, v is being plus by u, then being multiplied by half t. The opposite of multiplying half t is dividing by half t. Dividing by half t. So s over half t equals, the multiply half t and divide half t cancel out, so we're left with v plus u. Now v is being added by u. I'm going to subtract by u. So on the left-hand side, it's s over half t minus u equals v. And we've made v the subject. Last one, make a the subject of the formula. All right, so I want to get 1 over a by itself. So first of all, 1 over a is being subtracted by 1 over b. I'll get rid of that 1 over b first. So the opposite of subtracting 1 over b is adding 1 over b. And I'll add 1 over b here. So on the left-hand side, we have 1 over a equals, and that cancels out, 1 over c plus 1 over b. Next, what can we do? Well, I want to get rid of this 1 over part. Well, maybe I can, get rid of this fraction. We hate fractions, so the opposite of dividing by a is timesing by a. And remember, when you divide or times an expression, you have to multiply and divide all the other terms. So I have to times this by a and this by a. So on the left-hand side, the divide a and times a cancel out. So we're left with 1. 1 over c times a. Let's do that over here. 1 over c times a. If I want to make a, if this is a fraction, I'll turn a into a fraction. A as a fraction is a over 1. And how do you multiply fractions? Well, you do top times top and bottom times bottom. So top times top, 1 times a is a, and c times 1 is c. So equals ac plus, and then 1 over b. Oh. Shoot. Go away, stupid ad. And then 1 over b times a over 1. Top times top is a, bottom times bottom is b, plus a over b. Then I can, okay. Why don't I get rid of this fraction? A is being divided by c, so I'll times all the terms by c. If I times this by c, I times everything else by c. So 1 times c is c. The divide c and times c cancel out, so we're left with a. And then it's a over b times c. Times c, turn that into a fraction, c over 1. So on top of it is ac, on the bottom is b. So plus ac over b. And we can get rid of this b by timesing by b. Times b times b. So we have cb equals ab plus ac. Then we're like, oh crap, there's 2 a terms. We're going to factorize using the common factor method. So cb, what's in common between both these terms? A, and then b plus c. And then a is being multiplied by b plus c, so I'm going to divide both sides by b plus c. b plus c. So on the left-hand side, we have cb over b plus c. On the right-hand side, the multiply and divide b plus c cancel out, so we're left with a. And we've made a the subject. Sorry, that was a bit messy, guys. Cool. Oh, shoot, there's a few more. All right, here. Make m the subject. All right, let's do the first one. 9m plus 4c equals 2a plus 3m. Make m the subject. Well, first things first, you see brackets, expand the brackets. So 9m plus 4c equals 2a plus 2 times 3m is 6m. Then if I'm trying to make m the subject, I'll put all the m's to one side. So maybe I'll subtract. So there's 9m and 6m, I'll get rid of the smaller one. So I'll get rid of plus 6m. I'm going to minus 6m. I'll minus 6m here. So 9m minus 6m is 3m plus 4c equals plus 6m minus 6m cancel out. So we're left with 2a. Then m is being multiplied by 3, then added by 4c. I'll get rid of that plus 4c by minusing 4c. Equals 2a minus 4c. M is being multiplied by 3. Divide by 3. So m equals 2a minus 4c over 3. This one, w m plus n equals x m minus n. Expand the brackets first, so w times m is wm. W times n is wn. Expand this side, x times m is xm. X times negative n is negative xn. Make m the subject, so I'm going to put all the m's to one side. So maybe I'll move this here. So xm is positive xm, so I'm going to subtract xm on both sides. On the left-hand side, I have wm minus xm plus this wn. Right-hand side, we have negative xn. I want all the m's to one side, so they're all on the left-hand side. So I have to get rid of this wn, because there's no m's on it, so it's kind of irrelevant. So the opposite of plus wn is minus wn. So on the left-hand side, I have wm minus xm equals minus xn minus wn. Then I want to make m the subject. Cool, so the left-hand side, I only have m terms. What I do here, when I have two of the same subject, you factorize. So m's in common. How do I get from m to wm? I times by w. How do I get from m to xm? I times by negative x equals negative xn minus wn. M is being multiplied by x minus w minus x. To get rid of multiplying, I'm going to just divide by w minus x. Divide here by w minus x. Cancel this out. M equals minus xn minus wn over. There you go. Here, last few examples. Make x the subject. Well, first, you see fractions, get rid of fractions. So I'll get rid of this divide by x minus 8 by multiplying by x minus 8. So on the left-hand side, it's y is being multiplied by x minus 8. Right-hand side, for divide and times cancel out, so we're left with x plus 3. Then you can expand the brackets. Wx minus 8y equals x plus 3. Then I want to make x a subject. So I'll put all the x terms on one side and everything else on the other side. So to get rid of x, I'm going to minus x to move it on the left-hand side. So we have yx minus x minus 8y equals 3. And then I'm going to get rid of this minus 8y because I want all the x's on the left-hand side. So I'll plus 8y plus 8y. So on the left-hand side, I have yx minus x equals 3 plus 8y. I have two of the same subjects. I'm going to factorize. So what's in common? Well, x. Open up some brackets. From x to yx, it's times by y. From x to x, from anything to itself, you times by 1. So times by negative 1 equals 3 plus 8y. X is being multiplied by all this. To get rid of it, I'm going to divide by all of that. So on the left-hand side, it's x equals 3 plus 8y over y minus 1. Last one. Oh gosh, this has been a long video. I didn't really expect it to be so long. Oops. So w equals 6 plus a over c plus 2. So I want to get this c by itself. Well, first, let's get rid of this 6. Well, 6 is positive 6. So I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. So that's kind of irrelevant. So w minus 6 equals a over c plus 2. Next, like before, we hate fractions. To get rid of dividing by c plus 2, I'm going to times by c plus 2. C plus 2 times by c plus 2. So on the left-hand side, we have w minus 6 in brackets times c plus 2 equals a. Then maybe we can expand brackets using FOIL. So first is wc. Outside is w times 2 is plus 2w. Inside is minus 6 times c is negative 6c. Last is negative 6 times 2 is negative 12 equals a. Any like terms to combine? Nope. Next, our goal is to make c the subjects. Let's put all the c's on the left-hand side and move everything else to the right-hand side. So we'll leave this as it is. No c's here, so I'm going to take it away. And I'm going to get rid of that minus 12 by plusing 12. So what we're left with on the left-hand side is WC minus 6C equals A minus 2W plus 12. Now, two of the same subject, factorize. So C's in common, W minus 6 equals all that. C is being multiplied by W minus 6. I'm going to divide by W minus 6. I'll divide by W minus 6. So on the left-hand side, we're left with C equals, so that cancels out. On the right-hand side, it's A minus 2W plus 12 over W minus 6. And we're all done. So basically, guys, use the function machine to help you work backwards. And just remember some basic principles of algebra. Get rid of fractions. We hate fractions. You see brackets, expand brackets. If you have something like this, with lots of terms, just think about saying, hey, I want to get all the C's on one side and everything else on the other side, like to make it like this. So C's on the left-hand side, everything else on the right-hand side. And when in doubt, just factorize, okay? And that's it.